What's up, my nerds? Today, I'm going to be doing a tier list of all Star Wars movies and TV shows. I am here in definitely Photoshop. I'm going to be rating these movies and TV shows based on my opinion of how good I think they are. I say all Star Wars movies and TV shows. I'm only going to be ranking the ones that I have seen. So those are all of the movies except the two Ewok movies. And I really don't feel like I need to have seen those. And then as far as TV shows goes, I've actually only seen the Clone Wars and the Mandalorian all the way through. So those will be the only two I'm ranking. I'm sorry if you like Rebels. I'm gonna get around to watching that one of these days. And the rest of the shows, why haven't I watched them?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Also, as far as spoilers for this video goes, anything that's less than a year old, I won't spoil, except for the Rise of Skywalker. So basically, I just won't spoil the last season of Clone Wars or The Mandalorian. If you haven't seen anything that's more than a year old or the Rise of Skywalker, you either don't want to see them or it's been spoiled for you already, let's be honest. And I will be ranking these movies in the order that they were released. But because this is a Star Wars video based on my opinion, before you go any further, you must agree to these terms. The views expressed in this video are the opinions of one person for the sake of entertainment, nothing more. I am aware that the opinions expressed in this video may be, and in fact are nearly guaranteed to be different from my own opinions. I may even consider some of these opinions to be extremely controversial. Despite all this, I will behave like an adult because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I will remain civil because one person's opinion on how good a film is about fictional characters and events is not worth starting a war over. Star Wars fan base, why are you the way that you are? I'm one of them. Now, speaking of controversial opinions, I'm going to start off with one right here, and that is about the original trilogy. Now, there are a lot of Star Wars fans, and I would say that possibly even most Star Wars fans would consider the original trilogy to be the absolute best Star Wars movies, that no Star Wars anything could possibly be better than the original three movies. These fans I'm talking about would probably put all three of these films in S+ tier and not put anything with them. Everything else would be below it. I am not one of those fans. I will admit that as amazing as these films are, as revolutionary as they were for their time, they are a tad cheesy. I know it's heresy. Okay, listen. All right, we're gonna start off with episode 4, A New Hope. This movie was the kickoff of the entire Star Wars franchise. I think it was intended just to be a standalone film at first. It was just called Star Wars. It had absolutely revolutionary visual effects for the time. It's a really solid, simple story. It's very enjoyable. There's not much to complain about here. Like I said though, it's a little cheesy because it's, it's older and it was a little bit of a lower budget movie at the time. So please don't get mad. I'm going to give A New Hope a solid A tier. I feel like it, at least for today's standards, is a really solid movie, but not anything that's like mind-blowing. Okay, I'm sorry if this is like your favorite movie of all time. It's good. It's a really good movie. I'm putting it A tier. So the next movie that was released was the Star Wars Holiday Special. I'm so sorry. That's the next movie in the order that it was released. Oh my goodness. I'm not going to go too far into the Star Wars Holiday Special because I already made an entire video reviewing this movie. Drugs. Imagine the worst possible that a Star Wars movie could possibly be. And then literally it's like 10 times worse. I'm not even exaggerating. There was a redeeming factor, however. It was so bad that I really enjoyed it. I watched it like really late at night with some friends. It was a surreal experience, but I severely enjoyed it. And for that reason, I'm giving it D tier instead of F. So the next movie is The Empire Strikes Back. And let me just say, this is a severe improvement from the Holiday Special. No, seriously, The Empire Strikes Back was a whole new level, even above A New Hope, in my opinion. A New Hope was kind of meant to be a single individual story, but what The Empire Strikes Back really did is it just really did a lot of world building and it kind of expanded the view, I think, of at least the original trilogy here. The alternate title for this was the Darth Vader movie. That's a joke. I don't know that was actually an alternate title. It's rare that sequels are as good as the original, but in this case, I'm going to be ranking The Empire Strikes Back S tier. Okay, have you calmed down yet, original trilogy fans? All right, the next movie on the list is The Return of the Jedi. Having watched this semi-recently, I was impressed. I forgot how good this movie was. It's like a perfect ending to the Skywalker saga. Oh, wait. It's strange because I feel like the middle movie of a trilogy is usually like the least talked about, and then the ending is like the big, massive deal that everyone talks about forever and ever. It's not like this with Star Wars. People don't really talk about The Return of the Jedi. It's kind of underrated. It's a really good movie. And so I'm also going to be giving Return of the Jedi an S ranking. All right, so next we come to the prequels, and this is also controversial. I think the biggest reason that people don't like the prequels is because they feel completely different. And that was actually intentional. It's trying to show the difference between the Republic and then after the Republic kind of falls. The prequels feel kind of like new. All the technology feels like really new. And then the ones that happen after that, all the technology feels kind of old. The thing is, it's supposed to be that way because after the Republic falls, the entire universe kind of just falls into poverty. And I mean, some places are the same, like they go to Tatooine. But anyways, all this to say, I'm a huge fan of the prequels, and I probably will be ranking them higher than you would. So that brings us to the Phantom Menace. I really like the Phantom Menace. This is going to be a controversial one because I think it's a masterpiece. A lot of people don't like it because, once again, it feels different. Jar Jar Binks. People don't like Jar Jar Binks. Understandable. But honestly, like as a whole, the movie is really well put together. Of the 3 prequels, to me, this feels the most like the original trilogy. It's a great story. Jar Jar Binks, honestly, is not that bad if you're willing to look past the meme of Jar Jar being bad. Qui-Gon Jinn is a fantastic character, and extremely controversial opinion warning, this movie has the best lightsaber fight out of any Star Wars thing ever. So I guess this movie isn't flawless, but it is way underrated. People are way too hard on it. I give this movie A tier. All right, I made the original trilogy fans mad again. Oh goodness, how many dislikes am I gonna get on this video? Next, we come to episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Now, I will be the first to admit that the Anakin and Padme scenes are cringe as heck. And that's honestly mostly what people remember from this movie. But having watched this somewhat recently, once again, there is so much more to this movie than just that. Like, the entire first half of the movie is Anakin and Padme, and it's just cringe. It's bad. But after that happens, there is a story. There is cool lightsaber fighting. There, Count Dooku, Jango Fett. It's awesome. So the Anakin and Padme stuff is hard to look past, but honestly, it's not the worst we've seen. And the rest of the movie is pretty good, so I'm gonna give this B tier. And now for Revenge of the Sith. Now, this movie, even by the people who don't really care for the prequels, is known as the best one. The people who do love the prequels think that this is the best movie that has ever existed, and they're right. No, I'm kidding. Not quite. Yeah, this movie is just fantastic. It is the first movie that's rated PG-13, so I feel like they actually kind of get to express the emotion they want to put in the film a little bit better, especially after having seen Clone Wars and stuff. The Anakin and Obi-Wan stuff is so sad. But this is definitely one of the better Star Wars movies. I'm going to give it S tier. And now that I've thoroughly ticked everyone off, we come to a movie that no one really has an opinion on because no one has seen it. And that is the Clone Wars, not the show, the movie. Did you know there was a movie? We prequel memers have mixed feelings about the Clone Wars movie. Without it, the Clone Wars show wouldn't exist. When I watched this, which was like a really long time ago, it hasn't been recent, I'll admit, I didn't think it was bad. It was pretty good. I don't know. Certainly not the best Star Wars, but I didn't think it was bad, and it kicked off an amazing show, so I'm going to give it B tier. Next, we have the Clone Wars show. Oh my goodness. If you have not seen this, which a lot of people haven't, this show is absolutely fantastic. If you can get past like the first couple seasons, like it's so good, especially if you like the prequels. And every character that you don't like in the prequels is better in the Clone Wars. Every character that you do like in the prequels is better in the Clone Wars. There are new characters that are amazing. Didn't get enough of Darth Maul in episode 1? Well, guess what? He's basically a Clone Wars character because of how much he's in it. And dude, this last season that they just released, oh, no spoilers, but it was good. Oh, that was some good stuff. The show just takes a whole new dive into Star Wars. It covers topics that the movies can't get to because there's just not enough time. I mean, what? It has 7 seasons, right? Yeah. And honestly, having seen this show, like I said, just makes Revenge of the Sith so much sadder. There is no doubt in my mind, this show gets S+ tier all the way. All right, the prequel memers are back with me. So that brings us up to 2015 when The Force Awakens comes out. When this first came out, oh my goodness, I was so excited. It was a great movie. It was so promising what it had set up. But honestly, in my opinion, the trilogies have to work as a whole, which is kind of why I give movies like episode 2 a little bit of slack, you know, because as a whole, that trilogy is just so good, in my opinion. For me, the trilogy just didn't work, and everything this movie set up either was extremely disappointing, or they did nothing with it, or they just left it completely unanswered. And so for me, now watching this movie is just a sad fest. best. And yeah, I know a lot of people at the beginning didn't care for it because they're like, oh, it's just episode 4 all over again. When I was watching it, I was like, okay, another Death Star, really? We're gonna go that route? But other than that, I felt like it was a really solid movie. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just sadness. Nothing happens with all these characters. I'm so uninvested in all of them. I'll give it B tier. And if you don't think it's fair that I'm ranking this somewhat based on the other movies in the trilogy, go cry about it. Okay, next movie, Rogue One. Now, dang son, is this a movie? This is a fantastic movie. Dude, when it first came out, like between this and The Force Awakens, I was like, oh my goodness, Disney knows how to make good Star Wars movies.
Boy, were they wrong.
It's not like a critical part of the Star Wars universe, and you don't have to have seen it to understand what's happening in the universe. And I feel like a lot of movies like that are not good, but oh my goodness, this movie was done so well. It feels like the original trilogy, but with the resources that they had to make the new movies. It's just a fantastic story with all new characters, and they make the characters very well developed. You like the characters in the movie, and then at the end, they all die, and it's like, yes, now Disney can't make more movies and ruin these characters. Dang it! And then to put the icing on the cake, Darth Vader in this movie is so sick. Oh, that last scene, just like the last 45 minutes or so of the movie, just the battle on the beach is just so intense and so good. There's not a shadow of a doubt in my mind. This is my favorite Star Wars movie. Don't at me. This gets S+ tier. All right, so the next movie is The Last Jedi. Next, we have Solo, and let me tell you about Solo, because none of you went to see it, clearly. Solo is a movie about Han Solo. It's a Han Solo origin movie. In theaters, I enjoyed this, but it might have been my brain skewing it, because every single review I read of it was just terrible. As a whole, this movie, it was pretty good, but this guy isn't Han Solo to me. He doesn't work as Han Solo. And I feel like everything they're trying to do with this movie is just so unnecessary. And my biggest gripe is that I don't think this adds anything to the character of Han Solo. I don't know, it's not terrible, but And next we come to The Mandalorian. This was the debut Disney Plus show, I guess. And let me just tell you, this 8-part series, which is all it is at this point, is fantastic. It is absolutely amazing. Jon Favreau is a freaking genius. I won't spoil it, although I will say Baby Yoda is from this, and call me a boomer, but I love Baby Yoda. Oh my goodness, check this out. Daniel 3D printed this for me. But even apart from that, just the show is so good, and it appeals to like every single group within the fandom. If you like the new Star Wars stuff, it has the technical quality of the new Star Wars stuff, and it is a new Star Wars thing. If you like the original trilogy, it feels like the original trilogy. It does a really good job of that. If you like the Clone Wars and the prequels, it has like 8 bazillion references to the Clone Wars and prequels. I mean, he is a walking Clone Wars reference, basically. I mean, the Mandalorians are a thing that were lore-wise really built in the Clone Wars. This to me is just like the perfect Star Wars, is without a shadow of a doubt my favorite all-time Star Wars media, period. The Mandalorian absolutely gets S+ tier. And finally, we have The Rise of Skywalker. This movie it was an improvement over 8. It's just so sad. I was sitting in the theater just watching this. I'm like, man, I don't care. I don't care about these characters. I'm totally uninvested in the story now. As much as they try to fix it with what they did with Last Jedi, I also just feel like as a movie, it wasn't great. This is the end. This is the end of a 9-part series that has lasted for several decades. This is the end. This is the big finale, and they spend most of the movie on like this Skyrim side quest. I don't have problems with this movie for the same reason that most people have problems. Most people are like, oh, how does she use Force Heal? And then how do they do the thing with where they are all the Sith? Listen, if you look at what is now not canon, but is Star Wars material that was at one point canon, everything they do in this movie, Force-wise, is legit. Force Heal is a thing. Guess what? Not every Jedi knows it. That's why they can't heal each other when they die in the other movies. It's a rare ability. I know a lot of people think that when you have the Force, it's just a thing you have, and then you can do all the things with the Force that the Force allows. Even moving stuff around, which is telekinesis, is a learned ability that not every Force user has. And all the stuff where the Emperor is all the Sith and Rey is all the Jedi, I mean, that's legit. My main thing is they should have explained it better. So how do I rank it? I guess that is the thing I have to answer now. I'll give it C tier. It was okay. So that is my Star Wars movie and TV show tier list. Let me know how you would rank them down in the comments. Let me know if you disagree with me. Please be civil though. In conclusion, there is hope for the new Star Wars universe, just not the Skywalker saga. Anyways, guys, that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button down below. And also don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell for new videos. Also check out my Discord. I'll link those down in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace!